Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to Tone Deaf by Olivia Rivers. We are on chapter 3 and now we are in Jace's perspective, okay? So welcome back. We already read chapters 1 and 2 and we're already figuring out a little bit more, so that's fun. And guys, if you... This is our failed attempt to take off our acrylics. This is my other hand. Anyway, if you guys like this channel, please tell your friends that might also be interested. But let's get right into it. And I don't think my phone will fall this time. Okay. I blast the latest Fall Out Boy album through my headphones, letting the pounding bass beat down the dark memories clawing at my mind. I force a couple of deep breaths and try to focus on my laptop, clicking through Twitter and reading the messages left by fans. Rocking out downtown at Tone Deaf concert. Still can't believe I scored tickets. Hashtag biggest fan. Hashtag true love. I've got the new at Tone Deaf album on repeat. Hashtag love. I'm so jealous of everyone at the LA concert. Maybe if I tweet at Tone Deaf, Jace will reply. Hashtag hopeful. Hashtag future husband. Hashtag love. I scoff at the last one and mute the girl's profile. It's strange how often I hear the word thrown at me. Love. Fans love my music, love my lyrics, love my looks, love everything about me. Everything except the actual me. They don't know me, and that's how I like it. Of course, that doesn't let me off the hook when it comes to Tony's strictly enforced marketing efforts. Successful bands require fans, fans require attention. It's a simple equation that forces me to spend at least a couple hours every week answering messages on social media. I still haven't figured out if Tony is a genius at marketing or torturer, but whatever you call it, Tone Deaf owes its fame to his skill. If it weren't for that, I'd ignore his advice and stay away from social media like the plague that it is. I got into this industry for the music, not the vapid comments about my hair and fashion choices. The RV door slams open, and Killer comes prancing inside. He looks like he always does after performing in concert, all smiles and light footsteps and happy rainbow attitude. I yank my headphones and pin him with a glare. Killer, what the heck? Have you ever heard of knocking? He walks over to the couch across the room from my desk and collapses in it. Yeah, dude, I hear the word in the dictionary between oh my gosh, dude, and get over it. I turn my back to the laptop screen and roll my eyes. On first inspection, Killer looks pretty harmless, super thin and kind of tall, but he's still totally sucked at PE class. Nerd glasses that he's convinced are cool, he's blind without them, and skin he says is a shade between cocoa and burnt umber, but in reality he's not harmless. Far from it, actually. He's a gigantic thorn in my side. You on Facebook, Killer asks? No, Twitter. Then tweet Arrow. Tell him to get his pretty butt over here. I'm not publicly calling my cousin's butt pretty. Use your own phone and text him. I shoot him a look as I stretch my arms above my head, trying to ease the pain in my ribcage. Jumping around on stage is expected of rock stars, much to my bones' despair. Killer lets out a loud put-out harumph. With his high voice, it sounds more like a sneeze. There's a very, very good reason Killer is our keyboardist and not the lead singer. Sure, he has an awesome London accent, and he would have taken his spot, but the world has endured enough chipmunk imitations with that Bieber kid. Killer pulls out his phone, although he's probably still going to tweet Arrow instead of sending a private message. I shake my head. When we first came into the media spotlight, Arrow had wanted to keep his bisexuality quiet. That lasted about 3 days until Killer kissed Arrow on stage. Killer is about as subtle as a bullhorn. I hear a deep grunt and a click of nails against tile, and a second later, Cuddles comes trotting in from the kitchen. My pit bull wags her tail madly as she shoves her head into Killer's lap, demanding an ear scratch. She has a strange love for Killer, even though he is one who dubbed her with her ridiculous name. Cuddles weighs nearly as much as I do, and her jaws that could and jaws that could intimidate a lion. The killer clearly doesn't care as he pushes his face up hard against her nose and coos a hello, making my dog's tail wag even harder. What are you doing in here anyway? I mutter at Killer. This is my RV, you know. You can't just barge in here whenever you want. Sorry, I haven't done a British accent in a long time, and my family's walking around, and so it's just like I'm getting kind of all over the place, so I apologize. Maybe next chapter, sorry. Arrow, tell me about your run-in with a deaf girl, Killer says, patting Cuddles on the head. We thought you might want some company after what happened. I raise an eyebrow at him, but he grins his dorky smile at me like he thinks my glare is an ultimate portrait of undying love. So, he says, drawing out the word in an annoying way he always does. You want to tell me about what happened? Nothing happened, I mutter. But I can't stop my eyes from drifting to the little calendar in the corner of my laptop screen. June 5th. Why the heck did I have to run into a girl today of all days? Arrow says you gave her the finger. That's something. Do you always have to gossip behind my back? Jace. Arrow is my boyfriend. I scoff. Yeah, believe it or not, I've noticed. So what? Webster defines boyfriend as a man who becomes deader than meat upon withholding gossip from his true love. Make that reason number 21,899. I'll never enter a serious relationship, I mutter. You still haven't answered my question, he says. Cuddles lays at his feet with a heavy thump, and Killer turns his attention back to the phone. He types a little and then repeats, What happened with the deaf girl? I was just in a bad mood. Try not to fool me, Jace. You're always in a bad mood, and when it comes to deaf people, but not that bad. It's June 5th. He stares at me blankly. Huh? I rake a hand through my hair and hold in a frustrated groan. How the heck can you ever have the first 1,000 digits of pi memorized, but you still forget what today is? Killer squints at me, blinks a couple of times, then his eyes go real wide. Oh, shoot. June 5th. Then as he thinks I'm the one who needs reminding, he adds, Your mom died on June 5th. Correct, I say, offering him a slow, sarcastic clap. There's a long minute of silence. After that, the only sound coming from the humming RV generator. There's a long minute of silence after that, the only sound coming from the humming RV generator and the soft whirring on my laptop. Then the door bangs open. Hey guys, Arrow says as he walks up the last step and into the RV. Killer disgustedly throws his phone across the Scouts, where it lands safely on a cushion. Seriously, I tweet you 3 times and that's all I get. Hey guys, not hello my darling love, or I miss you bunches, sweetie. Arrow grimaces. Since when do I call you sweetie or darling? Well, you could start. I groan, guys. Seriously, take it up with a marriage counselor, preferably not in my RV. Arrow hesitates as his gaze settles on me, and I know he's debating whether or not to bring up the anniversary of my mom's death. It's been 6 years, but that still doesn't make it an easy topic. Arrow never knew my mom well. My dad shunned anything and anyone non-deaf, and since Arrow doesn't know sign language, he just never got a chance to communicate much with her. But I know he hasn't forgotten about my aunt's death, and I give him a little shake of my head, sending a silent message. Let's not talk about her now, please. Arrow nods and collapses on the couch next to his boyfriend. He tosses an arm over Killer's shoulder and kisses his cheek, and just like that, Killer forgets that he's supposed to be grumpy. He throws both arms around Arrow's neck, closes his eyes, and nuzzles his face into Arrow's t-shirt. Good God, I mutter. You two are sickening. Killer sticks out his tongue at me without opening his eyes. We will make you horny, and I know it. I turn back to my laptop screen, absently refreshing the page. Killer, how many girls do I have to be with to convince you I'm not gay? He yawns and says, At least one. Aren't you supposed to be the genius around here? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Killer, I thought an IQ of 140 would be enough to help you figure out I'm not a virgin. Arrow barks out a laugh. I shoot him a sharp look, but he just says, Dude, no one needs a high IQ to know you're not a virgin. Anyone smart enough to read a tabloid can figure it out. Then go buy Killer a tabloid, I snap. Get him off my back about being gay. Killer wags his finger at me. Sleeping with girls isn't the same as being with them. I scoff. Don't get all romantic on me, Killer. He's got a point, Arrow says. You've never had an actual relationship with a girl. Yes, I have. One night stands don't count as a relationship, Jace. Killer says, this is coming off more as an Australian accent, sorry. Then he scrunches his face and looks around the RV. By the way, where's your company for the evening? I didn't bring the girl back tonight. Killer slaps the sides of his face like he's stricken with shock and makes a show of peering out the window. I just roll my eyes, but Arrow takes the bait. What are you looking for, babe? Medias, Killer replies. What? Jace didn't bring home a girl after the concert. That means either the world is ending or he wasn't in the mood. And the world is ending is more probable, I mutter, naturally. I shake my head and refresh my laptop. Bringing up a new batch of @ToneDeaf tweets, I see #MarryMe in 2 of them and disgustedly close the browser. Can't they at least try to be original? I've been with girls for longer than one night, I mutter, although I'm way too late in replying, and it sounds downright pathetic. 2 nights doesn't count as a relationship either, sweetie. Killer says, I have no response for that one, so I open up an MS Word document and start absently typing. Free writing is what Tony calls it. He says it's good to let my imagination go and just write whatever comes into my head. But after a minute, that's on the pages. Once upon a time, there was an annoying dude named Killer. He died. The end. It's definitely not going to win me any short story awards, but maybe I can work it into a song. The RV door bangs open and cringes. It crashes against the wall. John, for the love of God, how hard is it to open a door without denting my RV? John saunters into the RV and makes a big show of closing the door softly. It actually mildly impressive, considering the muscle the dude packs. Freshman year, a high school's coach tried to make John the star of junior varsity football team. That lasted about 1 week until the coach discovered that John couldn't bash into anyone without spewing a bunch of nervous apologies. But our music teacher figured out he's much better at bashing drums, and he's been at it ever since. John raises his eyebrows at me as the door clicks quietly into place. Better? I give a grunt of approval. John smirks as he walks over to the other couch right next to my desk, collapsing onto it. Cuddles ditches her spot at Killer's feet to lie down next to John, and he scratches her under the chin. So what did I miss, he asks. I heard arguing. Killer nudges Arrow on the side and says, we're trying to get Jace to come out. John groans and covers his face with both hands. I knew it. I'm the only straight one in the band. I rolled my eyes. John, he points a finger at me and cuts me off. No, Jace, I'm not dating you, and so don't even ask. I grit my teeth, keep in a yell of frustration, and grind out. I was going to ask you to kindly shut your obnoxious trap. Got it? All the mischief melts from John's expression. You're in a worse mood than usual, he says. I'm fine, I snap. Arrow makes a disbelieving sound in the back of his throat. Jace, you just flipped off a completely innocent fan. I really don't think that counts as fine. John eyes down. You flipped off a fan? It wasn't that big of a deal, I mutter, but the lie sounds even weak to me. It's going to be a big deal when Tony murders you. Seriously, what the heck were you thinking? I'm having an extremely bad day, I growl, and it just happened. Yeah, you'll be having an even worse day tomorrow. You know how Tony gets when you pull a stunt like this. He's going to take it out on all of us. Killer clears his throat pointedly and says to John, dude, go easy on him. It's June 5th. John's eyes suddenly go real wide. Then he says, oh, right, June 5th, in a tone that might be either a question or an apology. How about instead of going easy on me, you all just go? I wave a hand at the door of the RV. Seriously, get out of here. I don't want to talk. Arrow shakes his head. Jace, look. You're talking, I snap, cutting him off. Exactly what I just said I don't want to do. Arrow hesitates, but then he throws his hands up in defeat and walks out the door before things can get any more awkward. John is quick to follow, but Killer lingers for a moment longer. Just as I'm about to tell him to leave, he crosses his arms and says, what's that saying you're so obsessed about? Your person motto, whatever? Servo me, servo te. What's that got to do with anything? Killer shakes his head. Do you even know what that saying means, Jace? Of course, I say, save me and I'll save you. It's like karma. When someone bothers to give a about me, I give a about them. Everything isn't worth my time. Exactly, it's like karma, Killer says. It's supposed to be a two-way street. What's that supposed to mean? It means you're always so mad at the world for not saving your miserable butt, but you never bother trying to save anyone but yourself. I don't need the world to save me, and I sure as heck don't expect it to. I make a sharp gesture to my guitar propped in the corner of the room. That saved me. That gave me a career and a ticket out of the infernal pit. And I pay my respects to treating my music like an actual craft. You and Arrow and John helped save me, and I pay you back by treating me like brothers. Tony helped make us famous, and I pay him hundreds of thousands for it. But no one else has ever helped, and I have no reason to bother with them. Killer shakes his head. Jace, our band has a little bit of talent and a butt-ton of luck. And someday you're going to run out of luck. All bands do. If you're trying to make me feel better, you're failing miserably, I growl. I'm not trying to make you feel better. I'm trying to make you do something better. You built our band to escape your past, but it won't last forever. So maybe you should start caring more about the world, because you're not always going to have the band to cower behind. I open my mouth to argue, but he shoves out his palm, stopping me. You can yell at me for being a butthole later, he says, as he heads out the door. For now, just shut up for once and think about what I've said. He doesn't give me a chance to respond after slipping out the door and leaving me alone with nothing but signs for company. The end. Okay, sorry guys, that was like a bit of a rush at the end because my family's trying to come in because we're leaving to go on a bike ride, so bye for now.